Hello, my friends! I thought I would take a few minutes to answer a question that I get quite often, and that is, how do I stay warm in my van in colder areas when I'm out doing van life? I just thought I would share, as I learned while living in Washington, different ways to stay warm, and I thought I would pass those along to you. When I am ready for bed, after I've explored a little bit of wherever I'm at, I have already scoped out where I want to sleep for the night, and on my way there, I blast the heat in my van as high as it will possibly go for as hot as I can stand it. I will pull into my parking spot, turn off my van, climb through between the seats, and get in to the back so that I'm not opening the door and letting all of that heat out, and also so I'm not drawing attention to myself when I'm stealth camping so people don't see me go out and then back in. That was kind of cute. Anyways, squirrel. I have a variety of things that I do to make sure that I stay warm. Sometimes I fail. Sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night freezing cold. But for the most part, I am staying pretty toasty. So once I am back here, and it's nice and toasty in here, and I put up my window covers, I grab my trusty hat and put it on my head, which, by the way, keeps a lot of body heat from escaping. You will be much warmer if you wear a hat to bed in your van. Before I get into my sleeping bag, I use my electric water bottle. This is the most amazing thing I have purchased for keeping warm, and it has been a lifesaver. It is it's got squishy stuff inside. I'm pretty sure there's probably gel or something, I'm not really sure, but it's water-based, kind of. It's kind of like the old-fashioned water bottles that our parents and grandparents used to pour boiling water into and plug up, and you plug it into your backup battery. This requires at least 270 watts. This does not work with my Jackery 240, so I ended up getting a 600 watt Bluetti. And you just undo the little door here. All you do is you take this fancy little thing and clip it into this here, like so. And you leave it there for about 5 to 10 minutes, and voila! You have this nice, toasty, warm thing. And I take mine, first thing I do is scoot it all the way down at the bottom of my sleeping bag for my feet, because if my feet are cold, I can't sleep. Once I get into my sleeping bag and I warm up my feet, and my sleeping bag is warm down there, I then scoot it up to my core. This thing actually ends up overheating me half the time because I've got it tucked up against my chest, keeping me warm, and then I could put my hands on it and warm up my hands at the same time. And after about 15 minutes of hugging this thing, I am too warm, and I am shoving it back down towards my feet or off to the side to keep my sleeping bag warm and keep it warm. I found out the hard way that this, after about 5 or 6 hours in a cold van, turns into an ice pack. So you wake up in the middle of the night and you put your feet on it and it's freezing cold. So I generally recommend that you warm yourself up with it, keep it tucked to your chest for a little while, and then toss it out of your bed, because the last thing you want to do is be nice and toasty warm in your sleeping bag for the night and stick your feet on this cold ice pack. A very important part of this is that this actually came with a cover that I don't use because I have socks on and sweatshirts on, and so I don't actually need the cover. It was keeping the heat from actually getting to me. So I took the cover off, and it's very important to remember not to put this directly on your skin. So when I use this at the bottom of my sleeping bag, I have thick socks on, I am mostly using it to warm my sleeping bag before I get into my sleeping bag. And then when I do move it up to my core, it is not on my flesh. It is on my sweatshirt, which is usually a third layer. So it's not directly on my skin. You can get serious burns if you put something like this directly on your skin without a towel or some kind of fabric between you and it. So make sure if you are using one of these, don't put it directly on your skin. You will very much regret it. Get one. They come in handy. I will leave links to all of these things in the description of my video in case you are interested in getting one of these for your own and trying it out. They do last about 5 hours, and then after that they turn into ice packs, and it's never a good time. I keep a bunch of these hot hands hand warmers in my van for emergencies. Usually I use these for out when I'm walking, but you just take them out of the package and you shake them up in the air and they get warm, and you can tuck them in your pockets. As you can see, my friend Diego over here doesn't ever seem to be concerned with the weather. He's spent many a cold night shirtless in my van, and I don't know if that is because he has naturally warm core or if it's the amount of rum he's been drinking in his pina coladas. However, I have begun to think that maybe it is because he's burning hot for Matador over here, who also seems to never need warm clothing. Not that I mind. I also have used just a general heating pad before, which I sometimes do dual. Sometimes I put that water bottle down at the bottom of my feet, and then I just pop this up where my core and my back is going to be for a while and let my sleeping bag get warm. It doesn't really take up a lot of battery power for it to be on for the night, and it keeps my core warm. I've also used an electric car blanket, which can plug into your 12-volt socket or your backup battery, and I did okay with this, but it didn't really give me the kind of heat that I wanted, and it always got bunched up and it just wasn't very comfortable. So I switched to the heating pad and the hot water bottle. I also have handy dandy warm toasty socks with the fluffy stuff inside, which I stick my little toesies in. I also sometimes use my battery powered vest, which sounds kind of weird, but it is amazing. So it's especially amazing for just keeping your core warm if you are out maybe wandering on a hike, or you just want to sit in your van and stay a little warm without having to do all the other stuff. On the inside is a pocket here that has a battery, and it just plugs right into the vest, and it's rechargeable, and you can charge it with a USB. I do not recommend sleeping in it. It is not comfortable to roll over on this chunky battery, and it's probably not healthy. But for sitting around inside of your van and just like chilling out, this is a really nice option. Another way that I stay warm in my van is after I have gotten all tucked in and warm and toasty, and I wake up in the middle of the night and it's cold, or I wake up in the morning and I'm not quite ready to get out into the cold to get dressed, I use my key fob and I use my remote start, and I warm up the van as hot and toasty as I can get it, and then I get out of my cozy sleeping bag and I am able to get dressed and put on my clothes and be comfortable and not freeze to death. So if you have a key fob with a remote start, I suggest you use it. So that's it. That's how I stay warm in my van, and hopefully this gives you some ideas how to stay warm in yours. Until next time, you know what time it is. It's time to dance. Stay weird, friends.